I am really thrilled today as the founder of soulmusic.com to welcome for a wonderful conversation for our Soul Talking series. Uh, Two people who are working on an amazing tribute to Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, on a tour throughout United States right now. And so welcome. I'm not going to speak much about it because I want them to tell us about it. So firstly, we have Damien Sneed, who actually is the musical director arranger for this amazing tour. And from what I understand, I'm sure you can tell us a little bit more about it, Damien, about having actually worked directly with Aretha. And Valerie Simpson, who actually needs no introduction to anyone who's checking out soulmusic.com, who is, I'm just gonna say Valerie Simpson. I'm not gonna say any more, okay? So let's kick it off by asking, how did this idea of doing this tribute to Aretha come about?
Tell him, Damien. You tell him.
Well, this is an idea that I had after Miss Franklin passed, and I thought about finding artists who could really do a good job with propagating her legacy, and people that actually knew her, and people that Miss Franklin actually loved. And Valerie Simpson is definitely the epitome of that. She's also a mentor of mine. She's a part of the American musical fabric, just as Aretha Franklin was, and that's how I came about.
Okay. And when you were thinking about doing this, how did you put it together in terms of the musicians and the guest vocalists?
So I selected singers that I had worked with in the past who could easily do classical music and popular music, blues, jazz, R&B, things that Aretha Franklin was so easily versatile in. She could just switch her hat, and band members as well that could do the same. It's a phenomenal group of singers. And musicians.
David, he put together some of the baddest singers I have heard. It was like all the women together made up Aretha Franklin. It was just an amazing thing to hear. And really and truly, I'm inspired every single night that I listen. And my hat goes off to them because it makes me feel like we have a musical future in front of us.
Yes.
Because they really can do the job, the musicians as well. And they're singing from their hearts, It's not just a job. We are singing to reach somebody. And that's what they do every night.
Yes. Well, I have to ask, when I heard about this tour, I was like, wow, can I just fly over and see every show? But nonetheless. But I was going to say, I imagine one of the challenges is how do you choose what to include in a show that's a tribute to the Queen of Soul when there's literally dozens and dozens of albums and classics? I mean, how did you hone it down to include things that people want that also could be open to being interpreted in a different way? Because obviously this isn't like seeing Aretha. This is a tribute to her. So how did you put that together in terms of choosing what to do?
Well, traveling with Aretha Franklin the last 4 years of her career, she was excellent at putting her sets together, putting her shows together. So I'm opening up with the song that she would open up with a lot, the song she did with George Michael, Knew You Were Waiting for Me. And I sort of keep, tempo changes happening, and also giving each singer an opportunity to rest from leading voice to going back to the background vocals. And then, of course, at the end with Miss Simpson coming in, it's just so fiery and dynamic, and it almost gets to the point where the audience is wondering how much more can you kill us with, and every song just knocks it out of the park.
Well, that's not a bad way to end the show, is it?
No. Yeah. David, trust me. He has so many highlight moments that you could go home halfway through and had enough, because these girls are capable of doing that. So there are lots of highlights. It's not just the special guest comes on. By the time the special guest comes on, you've already heard everything you need to hear, really and truly. And I'm back there shouting with them. I want to throw towels at each one of them because it's so wonderful. It really is.
Yes. Well, again, how did you choose, Damien? Since it sounds like you were the one who put together in terms of the actual set list of what you were going to do. How did you choose? How did you choose? I mean, I wouldn't know how to choose a show of tribute to someone so iconic.
I'm not sure. It's just something that comes to me naturally.
I mean, did you? Well, obviously, there's certain songs you're almost like required to do, I guess, like Respect and Imagine Chain of Fools.
Say a Little Prayer is another song.
Yes. And what were some of the gems that people weren't maybe not necessarily expecting? Would you say that you included?
The bridge over troubled waters he does is wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, let me ask you something about Valerie, because I'm intrigued because I know that Aretha recorded a couple of Ashford and Simpson classics, and
more than no. She recorded more than a couple. She really did a lot of Ashford and Simpson, really and truly. Well, when I look back, she did You're All I Need to Get By. She did Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing.
Yes.
She did Reach Out and Touch. And on her last album, she she mashed together Ain't No Mountain High Enough with the Adele song. And I'm Every Woman. So, I'm thrilled.
Yes. Well, I'm going to tell you one song that she did when I was in 1960, whatever, called Cry Like a Baby.
Oh, my goodness. That's the first one. Nobody knows that. But you and me.
I used to play that song in the record shop. I called a record shop when I was a teenager, and I would play that all the time so people could hear, because they didn't know who Aretha was in England at that time. Cry Like a Baby. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, so anyway,
I gotta play that for Damien. Yeah, I'm going.
Oh man, that song is oof. And the way Aretha sings that song, I mean, it's brilliant, a brilliant song. Maybe you'll include it at some point. You never know. So tell me, what has been the biggest challenge so far in doing the tour in terms of what people may expect and so forth? What do you think audiences are expecting when they come to the tribute?
I actually don't think they know what to expect. That's the response that we're getting. Because how can you give tribute to such a great, amazing person, musician, singer, arranger? Aretha Franklin was truly the queen of soul, larger than life, but I don't think they're expecting everything to be as high as it is as far as the level. And it's interesting. One of the things that Valerie always says is the fact that each singer has their own individual sound, but yet they can blend together. So it's not like people are trying to sing it just like Aretha. They're giving homage to Aretha, but still everyone is still coming forth and coming across with their own individuality.
Well, I'm intrigued about one other thing in terms of the audience. I mean, I know that in many ways, there's a whole audience of people who didn't grow up with her, clearly, didn't grow up with her music. And are you finding that a lot of the audience composition is a mixture of people who do know her, and people who maybe of a different generation are finding out about Aretha through this tour?
For sure. The audience, very mixed, very young, middle-aged, older. We get them all.
And one question to ask you, Valerie. Do you guys hear an echo?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, all right. Maybe I don't know what the echo is. Don't worry. It's gone away now. There you go. So Valerie, I have to ask you, when was the first time you ever saw Aretha Franklin in performance ever? Do you remember?
I can't remember the very first time, but shortly upon, I asked her to come to dinner on 72nd, but it was 71st Street back then. Yeah. And I asked her to come to dinner, and she brought her children and her brother, who was managing her at the time. And, she didn't speak a lot, but she ate the food and she had a good time, and the kids loved it, So I remember reaching out to her, and I was surprised that she actually showed up.
Did you have much conversations with her over the years? Many conversations with her over the years?
Over the years, we would talk. We would talk,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
But it was mostly what she would do, though, is she would surprise me. If she knew we were in the audience, then she'd call us out, you know. Then you say, "Oh Lord, I'm not ready for this." But it was
Yes,
always
yes.
a treat. It was always a treat, though.
Yes, yes, yes. So Damien, I want to ask you, given I've read a little bit about, no, I've read a little bit more than a little bit about what you've done in the past in terms of as a band leader, as a composer, working in many different genres yourself. So how does this fit within the I guess the scheme of what you've been doing? Would you consider this to be one of your up to this point triumphs in terms of everything you've done up to this point? I'm not going to be rude enough to ask how old you are, but I can tell you you're younger than me and Valerie. Sorry, Valerie.
I'm fortunate that every opportunity that I have to perform and express creatively is a triumph. The thing I was just literally telling someone, responding to a friend online and saying that this tour has gone above and beyond what I originally conceptualized.
Really?
There's magic happening every night on stage. Every pocket of the North American continent that we go to, the people are responding differently. So it's pulling different things out of us. And one of the things that Ms. Simpson shares, Valerie Ashford shares every night, is the fact that we're left here after this time of being locked away and shut in, and to see audiences sitting beside each other and dancing and people crying and people singing the lyrics. It not only is healing for them, but it's healing for us as performers and creatives.
Yes.
So this is a triumph after the pandemic, after losing friends and loved ones and not being able to make music and wondering, will we ever be back in the concert hall again? So this is a major triumph for me.
Yeah, I got you. Anything you want to add about that, Valerie? From your experience?
Well, I feel the same exact way. And when I look at that audience every night, I tell them how grateful I am to see them, because it took courage for them to show up. And the fact that I know how much they need the music, because I needed it too. It provided a healing thing for me. Aretha's music really did that over the last 2 years, because you had to go back to something that meant something. And so I went back to Aretha. And so to get a chance, because Damien put this together, to bring this back out to the people in such a beautiful way, it's healing for all of us. It really is. That's why it's not just a service of entertainment. It's like a church service.
Oh, I got you. Well, had you worked with Damien before? Is this your first time working with him? Okay.
No. This is not the first time. We worked together. He was my musical director with Nick on occasions in the past, years ago. We did a week at what place were we at in
2 weeks at the Raz Room, Hotel Nico.
Yeah.
Oh, in San Francisco?
In San Francisco.
Yes. Wow.
Never forget it.
Wow.
That's how we started.
Yes. Wow, Damien, you've kept some really great company, I have to tell you. I mean, Aretha Simpson, yes. Aretha, I mean, come on now. That's pretty major. So I'm going to ask you a difficult question. Well, not difficult. Do each of you have a favorite Aretha Franklin song? I know it's hard. Someone asked me, I wouldn't be able to answer it. But do you have a couple of songs that just really personally, really mean really a great deal to you personally? Songs that you like,
I think there are too many to mention, really and truly. I mean, because she was the consummate artist. Her take on a song, was so special and so individual and so authentic that I could name at least 4 or 5 that I would say, she just put a mark on it, and
Yes, absolutely. Damien,
I would have to agree. I have to agree, but I will say this: one of my favorite performances of Aretha Franklin is her performance in tribute to Carole King for the Kennedy Center Honors Program when she sang "Natural Woman." That was just an amazing. The performance. It was just amazing. But I mean, everything she did was amazing. Everything she recorded didn't matter the style.
Yes. So one thing, given the response to this tour so far, Do you anticipate that you'll be at some point reprising it, doing it somewhere else, doing it late again? I mean, what are your thoughts about continuing it beyond this current leg of tour? I think it goes to the, am I right? Like just about 5 days before what would have been Aretha's birthday, March 25th. So it ends on March 20th, correct?
Yes, I would love to. I've been speaking to the musicians and singers and to Valerie as well. It would be great to do that, to bring it to some other cities. We would love to. I think it would just be great. I think it's important that generations know about Aretha Franklin and not just know her, the latter part of her career, stuff that they may have seen on TV, but to really understand the scope so it's not lost. Artists of that caliber, that we're doing so many amazing things and setting the bar so high.
Mm-hmm. And Valerie, do you, during the course of the show, do you play piano at any point? I know you are a consummate pianist. I do know that. So at any point, do you do anything on the piano yourself?
Yeah,
Keyboard?
I do. I
No.
start out at the piano, which is
do?
comfortable. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. So,
Can you tell me what you do?
But then, well, the very song that he mentioned is the one that I do, Natural Woman.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, so yeah.
Yes.
But Damien is the pianist too now.
Yes, I know. I know.
We should one day do a dueling piano thing, or maybe I can slide in next to you and you can
That would be
slide.
nice.
How do you feel about that, Damien?
I was telling my tour manager I'd love to have two pianos set up together, facing each other, and the two of us could play and sing.
Oh, yeah.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
It's interesting. I had the opportunity, privilege, honor to work on a box set of Aretha's music, which came out last year, called Aretha. It's a 4 CD box set, and one of the things that I wanted to focus on was her artistry on the keyboard.
On the piano,
so a lot of people forget. I mean, not forget. They're not really cognizant because in later years she didn't do much at the piano as she used to at the very beginning. Like when I first saw her, a lot of what she did was on the piano. But I think a lot of people don't realize that one of the brilliant parts of Aretha's artistry is that she drove the rhythm section in those recording sessions. She was the one at the piano driving the how this was going to go. Those arrangements. I mean, when I found out that she actually did not read music, I told whoever's told me, you have to be joking. So it's all by ear and intuition. I mean, that's phenomenal. What I'm thrilled about is knowing that, how you're projecting this and portraying it gives honor to her artistry, not just the hits. I mean, we all know the hits, but I don't know that everyone recognizes her musicianship. And I think particularly, and for both of you as musicians, I mean, I'm sure that that's something that how important it is for people to get. It isn't just about the singing. It's also about the ability to use the art of playing, being a musician. I was thinking, Valerie, just for a moment there, that at the time then when Aretha was coming up and you were coming up, there were very few male or female artists who accompanied themselves on the piano. Very few.
True.
And I could only think of 2 or 3. There's yourself, Roberta Flack, Aretha, and I couldn't think of too many more people who actually could accompany themselves at the piano, because most singers of that era were, of course, stand-up singers. That's all great. That's wonderful. But there's something else that comes along when people also accompany themselves.
And also, I remember they didn't give credit back then so easily. Aretha was doing that from the beginning. She set the groove in Atlantic, for those early recordings, but she didn't get the credit that she deserved. And she wasn't one of the producers. I was lucky enough that when we started producing at Motown, that I insisted on getting credit and putting the musicians' names on the back of my CD. And that was something that just wasn't done at that time. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it's being done now, and I'm glad you all are paying tribute to a incredible human being who really has been the through line of my entire musical journey. She is the A in my DNA. Dion, Nina, Aretha. There you go. How's
All
that as a
right.
way to complete our interview? Now, please try to cross the Atlantic at some point and bring this amazing show to people in Europe, because I know we would want to see it.
We would
Well,
love
thank
to.
you. That's something we can work on.
Excellent. Thank you so much, both of you. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're in the midst of tour. Thank you as always. And, I'll make sure you get the links to this wonderful conversation, and let's talk some more.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care
Take
now.
care.